Hey guys, so in the last video, we learned how to set up our grade books in Canvas to have mastery grading. In this video, I'm going to show you how to actually set up your learning objectives. Now, I've had some questions, and they were really good questions about how specific should your learning objectives be on Canvas. And this is something that we can certainly have a discussion about. It's really a pedagogical discussion. I like to make my learning objectives in the mastery gradebook pretty specific because um, I use this as a way to make sure that I know where the students are. And if the students are struggling and my learning objective is too broad, I really don't know how to kind of drill down and get to what they need. Whereas if I have my learning objectives pretty specific and maybe they, ladder up or spiral, I can certainly help them a little bit more with support. So it's really up to you how specific you want to make your learning goals. I make mine pretty specific. I would suggest starting with one unit to try it and see what you think. It's something you can change, obviously. So I want to show you how to set up learning objectives within Canvas. Okay, so we've already set up our mastery gradebook, so it's ready to go. Now what you're going to do is this right here on the left where it says outcomes. Let me write on this outcomes right here. This is the button you want to push. Okay, so we are going to push outcomes. That takes us to a new page. Now some of you guys probably have not seen this page. I've already set up unit 1 as in a group. So what I do is I create groups, which are my units. And even then, sometimes my units are even like within units. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm just going to start with unit 1, which is the history of psychology. And so if you look, I've already got 2 learning targets in here. So I want to show you how to add them. Okay, so I've already added 2. So what you do, let me show you how to make the group first. So think of it as like a file folder. Okay, so I'm going to add a group. So this is going to be my unit 2, which I'll put down. I don't actually know what it is yet because I'm not quite that far. I'll just put it down. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Delete that because I put it in. If you notice, unit 1 history is already open and I put it into unit 1 history, which I did not want to do. So close out of any file you have. I'm now in the new place. I'm going to add a group and I'm going to call this unit 2. Okay. So this just gives me my units. Now within unit 1, I have a lot of learning targets, okay? And each one is very specific to a skill that helps them build to mastery in that unit. So for example, this one is about defining psychology and tracing how it went from philosophy to a science. Number 2 is about the different approaches, so like psychoanalytic versus biological. So these are really specific learning objectives. Canvas calls these outcomes. Okay, so maybe we should start calling them that, learning outcomes. All right, so I'm going to show you how to add one. So I showed you how to add your units. Next, you're going to add an outcome within that unit. So I'm in unit 1, that's why it's highlighted. I'm looking at unit 1, 1.2, and I'm going to add a new outcome. I'm going to call this 1.3, and I'm going to call this experimental. Let's just call it experiments, just to show you. Now, down here, you want to keep the name of the outcome pretty short, and I'll show you why in a sec, but keep this one short. You can call it something you want, like I might call this biases in science or something. And then down here, I'm going to use the actual terminology for the learning objective. So I have a few of these already kind of made. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to say, why do correlations enable prediction but don't provide an explanation? So that's a good one that the kids should know. So I'll put that in there. Boom. Okay, so that's where your longer definition will go. So once you have all that in, the points, don't worry about these. I don't actually really change anything on here besides that. You can change what you want mastery to be at. If you think, if you want to change these points, we can talk about that in the next video. So once I have that, and again, I don't really know what this is. I just leave that blank. I click save, and boom, it saves that learning outcome. Yeah, I think we should make sure that we have the same vocabulary. So I'm going to start calling my learning objectives learning outcomes. So it's thinking, sorry, my internet's a little slow apparently. Once that's in there though, I'm gonna show you, I'm just gonna move on because I can re-enter that. So once you have your learning outcomes, I wanna show you what it will look like in the gradebook. So when you go back to gradebook, you will find, okay, so I had to pause while my internet kind of got loaded there. So now this is all saved. So I've got 3 learning outcomes. I usually have about 6 to 10 for each unit, and sometimes more. Like each individual learning lesson might have 3. So it can get pretty big. This can kind of fill up. So once I have these in here, I want to show you what it looks like in the gradebook. So click grades, and I already have the Learning Mastery gradebook open. So what it's going to show you here is these are my learning targets. So I have learning, let me get a pen here. So I have learning target 1.1 that I entered, learning target 1.2, learning target 1.3, which is the one that you guys just saw me put into Canvas. So what will happen is the students will be listed here. And as you grade assignments, you will have linked, and I'll show you how to do that in an upcoming video, you will have linked the assignment to these learning objectives, or I'm sorry, learning outcomes. And as you grade them, it will calculate where they're falling in this. So it's a really quick way. Like if you have a student and you see a lot of oranges and yellows, that student needs some additional support. But if you see all dark greens, that student can move on and is ready to move on and has mastered those learning outcomes. So I hope that helped. That's it. Just to review real quick again, in order to add those learning targets, you are going to go to your homepage. You're going to go to this spot right here. Let me focus it for you. You're going to go right here to outcomes. So you click on outcomes. That'll take you to this page. You can decide how you want to set it up. I set it up by unit. Once I create a unit, you do that by clicking group. I'm going to call this unit 3. Oops. And once that's open, I can then add an outcome. And that is your learning outcome. That is what you will be tracking. Hope that helps. In the next video, I'll show you how to use assignments with these with rubrics. And that's it for today.